So today I'm here with a video that has actually kind of been asked for quite a lot. I get a lot of questions about like first year uni, moving away to university, on Instagram, on Twitter, in my YouTube comments, because I obviously vlogged my experience when I moved away last September, and I have pretty much just finished my first year in Leeds, which has been definitely a roller coaster of emotions, and I've documented pretty much most of it, so I thought now was a pretty good time to like give you guys some tips and tricks if you're moving to university in September for how to stay on top of your first year at university and how to like handle everything it throws at you. So this video is actually in partnership with Unite Students. You guys know that I absolutely love them. I've spent the last year living in one of their accommodations. I feel like I've spoken about it quite a lot, so I just thought I'd let you know because I wanted to be super transparent at the beginning of this video. But yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to talk through some tips and tricks. Obviously this time of year is super important. It's literally exam season now, so there's a lot of people pretty stressed out. I think one of my flatmates or two of my flatmates are like writing their dissertation. It's like their final year, so I know a lot of people that are pretty stressed, so I'm going to try and help some of you guys through the stressful exam period, or just give you some advice if you are in year 13 and you're heading off to university in September. So balancing your time when you're at uni can actually be like really difficult. If you're a procrastinator like me, it's pretty difficult to stay on top of what you're doing and when, and making sure that you're actually getting everything done that you need to be, because I don't just think it is about the exams and the work. There is so much else that comes into it. Like, you don't want to give up your social life. You've maybe got a part-time job that you need to think about. You're going home to see your family sometimes, or you might be like trying to keep up a long distance relationship, and all of those things can be quite like intimidating to balance at once because there are a lot of them. So for me, I'm pretty sure you guys know this by now, you're probably sick of me saying this, but I've been doing an art foundation, hence why I've been living here in Leeds, hence why I moved out into student accommodation, because I was doing a pretty full-time course. I was in like 9 o'clock till 4 o'clock pretty much every single day. It was quite an intense course because it was kind of more similar to like college in terms of how it was run than like a uni in the typical sense. So we did still have lectures, we had tutorials, we had that kind of stuff, but because it was a foundation course, it was run slightly different, which means that my experience has been pretty unique, but then so is loads of other people's. People do different kind of courses all the time. There is no right or wrong. But because of that, it did actually mean that dividing up my time and like staying on top of all of the other aspects that I just spoke about was pretty difficult. I had contact hours a lot of the time, which was great for the course, but not so great for everything else. So that meant that I would pretty much divide up my evenings into the rest of the categories that I just spoke about. So like socializing, work related things, or YouTube, which for me was like my part-time job. That's been my income for the year. Just like if you guys work a part-time job, like you've got to fit that in somewhere alongside uni. It's not just as straightforward as doing both. So my accommodation has actually been super helpful for this. I feel like if you guys have watched the vlogs, you will know that I've had a pretty social experience. Like, I have gone out quite a lot in the evenings. I have spent a lot of time with my flatmates, either in the kitchen or in their rooms. But also the accommodation block itself is really great. So the downstairs in my block is really social. There's like snooker tables. I'm definitely going to overlay some clips because I can't get it all right, but there's like vending machines, snooker tables, I want to say ping pong as well, but you guys can see in the overlaid clips that there is a lot to offer. Like socially, there's like a TV. There's been a few times where I've been locked out and it's been totally fine because I can just chill downstairs. But they also have study rooms as well, which is so helpful if you've got exams. Personally for me, I didn't have exams. I had full coursework based subjects, but if you are revising and if you are working and you don't want to be in your room, like that's totally fine. I get that a lot because I'm quite a social person. I like to do things with other people, so if you want to revise together, there were really great spaces for that downstairs in my accommodation. I see so many people in and out of there all the time. But yeah, for me it definitely wasn't all about work. Like, my work-life balance has probably been 50-50 throughout uni, and I think that's totally fine. Like, if you know you're a night out kind of person, I don't really think that's a bad thing. That is kind of part of the experience in my opinion, because that is what uni is. It's like a chance to get away from home and to have some fun, especially in your first year. You want to make sure that you're getting the best and the most out of the city that you've moved to. So for me, obviously living in Leeds, there's so much going on here. The nightlife's great, the socializing's great, and there's literally something for everybody. There's like bars, there's clubs, there's cocktail places, there's other things to do that don't involve alcohol. There's like crazy golf, cinemas, stuff for everyone. And if you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of the city, you're going to probably be going out a bit as well. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, as long as you remember that you're doing both, and I think that is important. Like, this isn't a video of me being like, here is how to revise and not do anything else. Like, it's so important that you get your work done, yes, but also it's important that you're having a really good time and that you're seeing your friends or you're meeting new people, because the first year is literally so good for meeting new people or people that you would never have met otherwise. And for me, Leeds has a lot more to offer than my hometown because it's so much bigger. It's a massive city, and if you're moving somewhere like that, you're obviously going to want to explore it. While I've been in my like first year, although I keep saying first year, my course has actually only been 1 year long because it's a foundation, but if you're on a 3-year degree, it's just easier for me to say first year. But while I've been here over the last year, I would say I probably went on a night out maybe like once a week, or I went out once a week, not necessarily to a club, but I'd say I went out drinking maybe once a week, and that totally worked for me because that was like the perfect amount of time. Like, we went out quite a bit, but also I made sure I had quite a lot of nights of the week where I was in, or I was like at my friend's flat, or my friends were at my flat, and that worked really nice because then I think you're getting to know people without alcohol, but also you're going out and having a good time quite regularly, which I think is definitely really nice and really different. Of course, during all this time I had to make sure that I had time for YouTube, which is why you're watching this, and that was such an important thing for me throughout all of my education. Over the last like 4 years, I've always had like my education and YouTube, so throughout university I made sure that I had time to film, to edit, to upload, to like chat to you guys, and to do emails and brand work, because to me that is like my job, and I didn't want to give that up when I came to university. In fact, if anything, I wanted to do it more because I was documenting it and I was vlogging it for you guys, and I think just like a lot of students get part-time jobs, that was kind of my equivalent because it was earning me money to live while I was here, and also it was really rewarding, and I've done it for the last 3 years, so I figured I could just carry on. But if you're in a situation where you maybe need a part-time job, or you're at uni and you have a part-time job, I do think it's so important to like fit that in and make sure that you're still doing other stuff around it. Like, don't get me wrong, I was definitely still going out, I was definitely still getting my uni work done during the day, and that was so important because again, it's just about fitting all of the little blocks of your life into the right amount of time, so you're not prioritizing one where maybe you need to be doing the other. For example, during like April and March, that was like my deadline time, and although I was still like very much uploading to YouTube, in my mind it had taken a bit of a backseat because my deadline was like there. Personally, I think that the most important thing for me has been using my location to the best of my ability. So when I'm in my flat, I know that I have a little bit of downtime, a little bit of free time. It's a really safe space, and I feel like really social when I'm in it because I know my flatmates are probably in and they're probably going to be cooking. But I also know that I have some me time, and sometimes that's so important. Like, you just need a few hours of watching Netflix on your own, but not too many hours of it. Then you get into the Netflix spiral, and that is really not good, especially at this time of year because exams and stuff like that. I'm the worst for it. I spend so much time on YouTube, so much time on Netflix, and then I'm like, oh, where's the last 2 hours gone? I haven't done anything. Don't be like me. But I think a really important thing is, if you're not in your flat, if you're out and about, you can still be utilizing that time. So for me, I spend a lot of time on trains. You guys will know if you watch the vlogs, I definitely traveled to and from my house a lot. Like, I don't live too far from here, so I've been making sure that I went home to see my family quite often, and just because that was a routine that really worked for me. But I definitely used that time. I had an hour on the train every week where I would make sure that I was finishing off my work or writing up any essay questions, because although I did an art-based subject, we did have like written things that we had to do, and if I didn't have any uni work, I would be doing YouTube work, I'd be editing, I'd be making thumbnails, because otherwise that's a wasted hour. Like, you can sit on public transport and stare out the window, that's brilliant, but it's not really the best use of your time if you know you've got stuff to do. So for me, Leeds train station has become a second home. There are so many nice little cafes in there, or like even just little quiet places where you can sit and like get your laptop out if you're early for a train, have a coffee, and then you can sit on the train, and if you're lucky, if you're blessed, you can find a quiet seat somewhere on the train and put your headphones in and get some work done, because I think it's really important that you don't waste that time. I'm the most productive when I'm on transport, when I'm on trains. I get so much done because I'm so used to being on a train. So I think that is really important if you are going home a lot and you've got work to do still, because then when you get home, you don't have to do it. You got a free weekend. I feel like they are my top tip as to like how I've stayed on top of my first year, because I do think it was such a like drastic difference to sixth form, where when I was at sixth form I was obviously living at home. So when I finished sixth form, at the end of the day, I'd literally just go home and I knew kind of the structure of my life. This completely changed that, and I think that's fine. Like, going to university obviously is a massive change. Sorry about the lighting, it's just got really sunny on my top. Very bright from here. Oh well, at least the sun's out. So yeah, it obviously was a change. I was expecting a change, but it wasn't necessarily what I was expecting. But yeah, I feel like now we're getting towards the end of first year. If you've got exams coming up, it's more important than ever to kind of think about how you're structuring your time, think about how you're using your time, and like maybe think about how many nights out you're going on as well. But who am I? That's not advice I'd usually give, but I feel like we all know that is the right advice. If you're in year 13 and you are about to head to university, obviously it can seem really daunting. Like, do not get me wrong, I was really nervous about it, but I think, to be honest, it did take me a while to settle in. I've been so honest about that, and you can go back through my vlogs and like see the journey, because now I absolutely love Leeds as a city. I absolutely love my flat. I think this is really nice, and I'm gonna miss it when I move out, because I think that it has taken me a while to adjust to it, but I have adjusted and I do love the city, and I will definitely be coming back next year. So yeah, if you have any other questions at all related to like my accommodation, where I've lived for the last year, what I've done for the last year, or even just like how I've revised, like even though I didn't do revision as such for this course, how I revised for A-levels, because obviously I understand that it is prime exam season right now, put them in the comments below. I'll be chatting away, I'll be answering your questions as always, and I will be back with another video really soon. Thank you so much, Unite, for working with me on this. I think Unite students are a great brand. I love their flats, I think they're really lovely. But thank you so much for continuing to work with me, and I will be back with another video really soon. Bye guys. Also guys, if you could hear my door slamming a lot, there's like my flatmates are walking in and out, and the doors are really heavy, so they make loud noises. I'm sorry if there was banging, I've just realised you could probably hear it behind me talking, but that's what that noise was, if you're wondering.